Okay, so this chapter we're going to be getting into area, and this should be review. This should be nothing new. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on today's lesson because it is in fact review. And so first of all, let's define in fact what area is. If you remember, area is the measure of the region enclosed by the figure. Measure of the region enclosed by the figure. And so real quick, we always label area with what?
Square.
Labeled with what? With square units. Because area refers to two dimensions. Okay, area refers to two dimensions, length and width. When we get into volume, that will deal with three dimensions, and as a result, we'll label those with cubic units. But this should be review. We're dealing with an area of a rectangle. Area of a rectangle is base times height. Now notice how this works. It works if a rectangle is up and down, or if a rectangle is side to side. Notice how the base and the height are labeled. Okay? We have a base and a height on our first one, base and a height on our second one. So let's go ahead and see what we have on the next slide. It says find the area of this shape. Well, this isn't a rectangle, so the question is, how do we do this? And so in order to figure out how we do this, I'm going to go ahead and break this into rectangles. So I'm going to start with my first one. And my first one right here, if I break that into a rectangle, notice I have 4, and I have by how many? 8. So when I have 4 times 8, this is actually 32. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and look at the top one. The top one up here, notice here, actually, I can break that into a total of 2 different rectangles. Now, in my first rectangle, the dimensions are 2 by what? 5. And would you agree that that part takes up half of the rectangle? Yeah. Yep. So the rectangle will be 5 times 2. Half of that will be 5. What about in the yellow? My dimensions here are 3 and 2. Half of that is 3. Okay, so then on the bottom one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to break that into 2 rectangles. Here's my first one. My dimensions here are 3. We haven't gotten to the triangle one yet. Okay, so half of that will make this one 3. And then I'm going to be getting to this one right here. Dimensions are 6 by 3. So half of that will be 9. So let's add up all of our numbers. All of our numbers, if you notice, we have 32, 5, 3, 3, and 9. So what is my area of that figure?
I know that one number.
52.
52 units squared. Alrighty, questions? Okay, we haven't quite yet got to the triangle. If you know the triangle formula, you could use that. We're going to get to that one tomorrow. Okay, so let's look at this one, area of a parallelogram. Remember, a parallelogram is basically like a slanted rectangle. Remember a parallelogram. It is like a slanted rectangle. And so the area of that is base times height. Now notice here the height has to be the perpendicular distance. Okay, the height has to be the perpendicular distance. Now, when I'm saying perpendicular distance, what I'm referring to, you can see in that bottom diagram, The height is here. S is not the height. Okay? S is not the height. There's a big difference. Okay? There's a big difference in the two. So, find the height of a parallelogram that has area 7.13 meters squared and base length of 2.3. So what I want to find here is find the height. So I first of all know the area of a parallelogram is base times height. So let's plug in what we know. I know the area is 7.13. I know the base is what? 2.3. And I'm going to take that times the height. So in order to solve that, what are you going to do? Divide by 2.3. And what do you get?
3.1.
Even?
I think so. My calculator.
Okay, 3.1. My label will be what?
Meters.
Meters.
Height.
Okay? 3.1 meters. So that's what you're going to be dealing with today. Okay? Area of parallelogram, area of rectangles. Tomorrow we will hit triangles, trapezoids, and kites.
What?
Okay? So, your assignment on pages 425 through 426, you have the remainder of the time to work. It's page 1 through 15. Yes, this is due tomorrow.